It's always fun to go to a try new restaurants. I love it. Well, we get it. Where they got that's a dangerous place. You know, she's doing better. She's doing better. She had a scare and actually got a better checkup than she thought. She's 85, 87. Like she's just anything she feels, it just scares her. Unfortunately, being recorded now, my wife's going to yeah. But I guess when I can I'll be the same thing. It's a self-preservation thing.
And if it comes down to it,
She said she doesn't want to do it.
Oh, good. Thank you.
So are you new to this?
Yes, actually, I didn't try just the classifieds are in here, but they were so busy that they needed somebody to come sit with them. They asked me. I'll be glad when she lost it. Kind of.
Somebody picked them, you did that.
I think so.
How are you? Sure. I think we're going to go with Cole. I don't get it, but I got these. Yeah.
It's coming to
You
ride over there, you got a sad face, but it ain't going to the country.
Yeah, I know.
Ain't been muddy for a long time.
Saturday was the perfect day to get out.
It was.
My wife had me.
Honey do. Part of what we're gonna do is, they will increase.
All right, I call this meeting of the Young County Commissioners Court to order. Let the record show it's 9:30 a.m. and all members of the court are present. We're streaming on YouTube, and if you're watching and want to make a comment, you may call in on 940-221-2107. I've invited Kathy Partridge here this morning and would be honored if she would lead us in prayer. And if you're able, please stand.
Would you bow with me? Let's pray. Loving God, we are so blessed to live in a country that stands on being united and understanding that if we are not united, we fall. We live in a country and a county and a community that believes in the same thing, that we believe in standing together and working together and being united. We ask that our focus be upon you, oh God, when we do come to a conflict, that we are reminded that you are our light, you lead the path to righteousness, and allow us us to make the right decisions that serve all that live in Young County. Bless this time together today and let us follow your guidance. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
The bar has been raised. All right, if you please do the pledges. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Please be seated. All right, we are to the public comment section. Would anyone like to make a public comment? Don't see any. Next, we'd like to acknowledge the oath and the oath of office and the statement of officer by Ann Ford, our new county clerk. It is in our packets to be part of our record. And then also in our packets, we have a receipt of the hotel occupancy tax report for $5,891.81 from the Wildcatter Ranch and Resort. If you would, could you please refer to the minutes in your packet? Are there any comments, any amendments to the minutes?
So moved.
We have all right, we have a motion from Commissioner Wiley and a second from Commissioner Cresswell. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Unanimously passed. Next, we'll consider the treasurer's financial report. Kathy, do you have anything for us today?
I do. I finally got December. This is the one that will go to the clerk, where we along with that and sign it. This is just the cash statement. We also got the, securities from,
Thank you.
the bank. We have a 2 million, almost 2 million in excess of securities. Yeah, I need that one signed all the way around. And give that to, and I don't know if you want this to look at, these are the reconciliations of the bank statements.
Okay, yeah.
And then, Scott, would you hand that to Ann right there? And then, that's it, I'm working on January right now, so I should have it by the next meeting. Do I need to do that later today? Asking for permission to request
I'm not so sure.
jury reimbursements. I don't know how you were on it.
I'm not sure, showing $2,780,936.98. So,
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and give this to the court today. I don't know when the next, I think it's. But this is a letter that I need, we're planning to do it the next minute, but I need to be appointed by the court to be able to request jury reimbursements.
Okay.
And, this next one, I think is going up pretty quick, but I have to have a copy of the approved minutes to send in,
Okay.
so that will be the next meeting.
Right, we'll need to put this on the next
Yeah.
agenda item. Would you,
Thank you.
okay,
She might
perfect.
have it.
Yeah, we have a sheet in there where we're signing up for items on the agenda. If you please put that
Okay,
on
and then
there.
if it comes up, I will do it under Ann's name. That means what's coming up.
Okay.
You have a copy? Or the original one? Oh, that's fine.
So, and also, wanna make a note in your packet, we've got a update on the securities pledged. So we'll break this thing up into the sections. Do we have a motion to accept the treasurer's financial report and the update on securities pledged? Motion from Commissioner Rogers, we have a second? Second from Commissioner Wiley. All in favor? I'm gonna abstain, so it's 401, please. we have, some donations for the Young County Historical Commission. $135.73 and $287.49 from Crazy Cora's Emporium, and $100 from Wayne and Barbara Trice. Do we have a motion to accept these?
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Rogers, do we have a second? Second from Commissioner Shook. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I oppose.
4-1, please. So motion carries. Now we'd like to consider the auditor's budget amendments and vouchers payable.
I have vouchers payable, always. Total for today is $162,799.46, and out of the general is $81,261.78. And I think included in those, there is no DOMS or Shook, but we did pay the 2 hospital districts their $17,500 that we paid for the ambulance services.
Okay.
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Wiley, do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Cresswell, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimously passed. In your packet, you'll find, we're here to discuss and consider the Arbitrage Group Incorporated, a final report for the general obligation refunding bonds, which is our series 2014. And we're making our final payment when?
Yes, I made it, we set it up to pay today. I had to write a check, we put the money into the non-department contingency. We wrote a check last week for $735,243. And the ACH on the jail payment will go through today for $781,550. So there was a little bit of money in there, I think 40-something thousand. Now there's $158 left in the debt service account. That's what we wanted to do, is get it down as low as we could.
How much is left?
$158.
Wow. So now we own the jail free and clear.
Well, we will when it goes through today.
Yeah, well, that's exciting.
Yes.
Do we have a, I don't think we need to, there's no motion.
No,
on
what
this
they,
one, but-
they're just saying because we did get in a little arbitrage trouble when we first took the bonds and we didn't spend the money fast enough and we owed the IRS money. But now we're spending it fast enough, we're making, using it, making the payments, so they're just saying that we're free and clear, we don't owe anything, which.
Gotcha. So that's really just an informational item, but that's exciting that we,
That's a good thing.
yes,
Yes, it is.
that is exciting. Okay, so we'll move to item number 8, where we'll consider the extension agent's January report, the request for reimbursement. Penny Barron's, $415.37. Savannah Williams is $675.05. This information is in your packet. Do we have any discussion on that? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Motion from Commissioner Cresswell and a second from Commissioner Rogers. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We will now discuss and consider employee bonds. Ann Ford, our new Young County clerk, is a $15,000 bond. Robbie Scott Wallace, Young County Community Supervision and Correction Department's a $5,000 bond. That information is in your packet.
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Wiley. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Shook. Any discussion on these bonds? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Now we will discuss the January activity report for the jail. Sheriff Babcock? How are you?
Good.
Great.
Food patrol first. So I'm sure they're gonna have some questions on the jail cell.
Thank you, sir. This doesn't have the jail statistics on it. Is that a different report?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 19 calls for assistance. 39 livestock. What is a typical livestock complaint? Just a loose cow? Or what else is involved with livestock complaint?
That's about it. Cows are running loose.
I think I made half of those. Sorry.
Yours don't get recorded if you don't call in, you call me.
Oh, sorry.
They call that direct line?
Yeah.
We're on YouTube. His cell phone number is.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll get that number down the line.
Just kidding. Okay. Any more information you'd like to give us on this report?
No, that's about all. It's all basically same as just that good old adage.
Okay.
They did, I'll have to give you on the exact ones, I don't know why they didn't put it down there.
What else do you have for us?
All right, we'll go to the jail. Today's population is 85.
What's up?
Well,
There's a reason for that.
there's a
We're
reason.
making money on
It's on
that.
page 2.
So Sheriff,
Yes.
do you consider this a positive or a negative for Young County, for the Young County Jail and Sheriff's
Well,
Department?
it's absolutely not.
That's, okay. I would think so too, but I just was curious your opinion. So 26, 29, 31, 32, almost $33,000 in out-of-county housing for January of 2023.
Yes, sir.
That's a good thing.
That is, I mean, I would think it would be.
When we designed that to begin with in '07, that was our plan, was to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when that happened, everybody around us was building brand new jails. So now that this is an opportunity here because these other towns around us have got overpopulation and they need room. So,
I mean, they're calling me from Lubbock County.
yeah.
We're still in talking with Jack County too, right? On the
Yes.
mental health bill.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And when that changes, that's gonna change how many people we can actually accept.
Right. As long as we stay under.
But that's not gonna happen super quick. There's a lot that has to happen. I mean, it's not like that's gonna happen in the next 6 months. It's gonna be a longer process than that.
20.
What's the county seat of Elton County? I'm trying to think of where that is.
So we're
Belton.
Belton, it's right there by
Oh, okay.
Waco.
But I like that.
And I know where Baylor County, I know where Throckmorton County. So, okay,
It should.
what,
Go ahead.
so the average daily population is 66. What's our capacity right now? What's maximum capacity with your staff and that you could take right now?
196.
Okay.
We're at 88 right now, or 85, I'm sorry.
85 today?
It'd take 3 more bodies.
Which, we're still working on that, I think we still have some prospects. We get fully staffed, we can,
Do 144.
not for very long though.
Do you have a statistic for what's the average stay for somebody who, I mean, you know, because a lot of people are waiting to be magistrated or, like, you have 85 in there today, I mean, what's your turnover?
I would say with, a lot of these, let's just go to Bell County for a minute. A lot of these people right here are waiting to be, everyone that we receive are paper-ready inmates, which means all they're waiting on is a bed to be available at TDC.
Gotcha.
And then we transfer. And that's moving pretty quick.
questions for the sheriff? You have anything else for us?
That's it.
Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate you. All right, so the next item, I put this on there, is to discuss and consider an application for a mass gathering permit, which is a request from the Graham Convention and Visitors Bureau for the 2023 Crawfish and Canyons event at Fort Belknap, and discuss and consider waiving the application fee. So we discussed this our last meeting, and then after looking at the rules, we determined that there was enough people at this event that we needed to do a mass gathering permit. They have officially sent us our mass gathering permit. It is in your packet. Our rules and state rules state that we have to have a public hearing on this. We've got 2 other potential public hearings that we're gonna decide if we wanna do later in the agenda item. I've put them all on or potentially on our March 27th agenda for 10 a.m. So I'm letting you guys know, or at least I'm requesting a vote on whether we approve a public hearing to hear the mass gathering permit on March 22nd at 10 a.m. And I'm also requesting that we waive the application fee on the mass gathering permit. Motion from Commissioner Wiley. Do we have a second?
You don't wanna try to do it Sunday? Okay, so.
Well,
February 27th. You know,
March 27th.
the notice in the packet says February 27th.
Does it say it?
Yes, sir.
We will make that change.
Okay.
The reason that, yes, I would like to do it sooner, but when we were counting days on the road public hearings, we figured that this was the soonest one that we could do for the road ones, and we figured just might as well do them all on the same day. It still is plenty early for the Crawfish and Canyons event, but the answer is yes, I would like to do it earlier, but yes. It just, by statute, it has to be 10 days before, by statute, so.
Something comes up and they just got 10 days.
Yeah. Well, I'm not anticipating a problem with the permit, but we will determine it at the hearing. We have a second from Commissioner Cresswell. Any more discussion on this? All in favor? Aye. Unanimously passed. The other item, and this has to do with the Crawfish and Canyons event. At our last meeting, we waived some of our Fort Belknap rules. In reviewing the Fort Belknap rules, I don't believe that we waived enough of them. I am asking the court to consider waiving rules number 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, and 12 of the Fort Belknap rules. Would someone like to make a motion? Motion from Commissioner Cresswell. Do we have a second? Second from Commissioner Shook. Do we have any discussion on this item? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, item number 13, discuss, consider, and accept a donation of a courthouse landscaping project. Andrew Bryant of Going Green would like to make a short presentation to the court.
Thank you, Wynn. Thank you, gentlemen. My name is Andrew Bryant. I grew up in Graham. I attended school at Texas State University down in San Marcos. Had a great time. My wife and I moved to New Braunfels, where I started my first landscaping company. Did well, sold it, moved back home, and I noticed a gaping hole in the landscaping industry here. So I decided to start my second company. And over the last few years, I've allotted a certain amount of money for advertising and marketing, and I hadn't spent a dime on it. So I've been thinking about where could I spend this money. And after a long thought, I decided that the courthouse was a perfect spot to do some landscaping. It's good advertising for the town, good advertising for myself. The courthouse needs it, and I'm the man that can make it happen. I'm not talking about just a shrub here and there. I'm talking about a pretty big project. It's gonna cost a lot of money. But it is a 100% donation on my part. Maintenance will be required once a month during the growing months and once or twice during the winter. This will also be donated by my company. So as long as I'm in business, the county won't have to spend a dime on this, with an exception of water, sprinklers, keeping stuff alive. You mind if I show?
Yeah, please,
Yeah, I'm gonna show you all a brief 3D rendering. There's a couple things I was looking at this morning that I already want to change, but I have, that's just how my mind works. We just attained a job to work at the library to do their landscaping, and I'm sure some of y'all seen that video. Unlike the library,
Activity on?
it's about to be, we're going to be using mature plants right off the bat, so it looks good instantly. My goal is to have it start on April 3rd, if approved, and I will be finished by no later than mid-May, before the food truck. So here we go. This is the bed here that I'm already gonna change some stuff on. Nothing big. I wanna make a bigger space for the flagpole. There's a lot of color. I didn't cover up any windows in case someone got mad at me for covering them up, which I can see happening. Is anybody's office right there?
Harley.
Okay. It's also gonna include the gazebo. Now, the gazebo, I understand, needs a little work, so we're gonna wait on that till later in the year, until that's finished, but as soon as that's done, we can tackle that as well. The cost of this project is gonna be $32,300 with an additional $25,000 in donated labor. I would like to use rock, but I think I'm gonna start out with mulch. Mulch looks better, and it's gonna, for the food truck, I would like to use mulch so that kids and stuff aren't throwing rocks everywhere. After the food truck, I'll come in, do away with the mulch, and put the rock in. Do you know when the gazebo's gonna be worked on, or do we have any idea?
No.
What's wrong with it? Do you know?
There's some floors.
Structural, it says
Yeah.
on the steps.
Okay. So it's very symmetrical, very formal. And there you go. My brother is an expert at this stuff. He can do that in like 2 or 3 hours. I just don't know how, because it took me like 4 or 5 days. And there's what he's been watching.
Excellent. So this is a donation to the county.
Does that have anything that's gonna affect the lighting project we've got going?
Shouldn't, so there's spotlights on there. You're not gonna do anything that'll affect, cover up,
Not at all.
or hinder spotlights on the courthouse?
No, not at all. Anything will make it more visible.
Yeah.
Work around that.
And if you check the sprinkler system to see.
So I've talked to the maintenance guys downstairs. I can't think of their names.
Terry and Brian.
Okay. When they turn the water on in March, they're gonna call me.
Okay.
And if there's any irrigation problems, we're gonna fix them together.
Okay.
I'd be happy to donate that, but if that's something that y'all wanna pay for, either way, I don't care. I don't care.
Well, yeah,
I don't foresee, they said there were no problems when they turned it off. So
Yeah.
I don't foresee any problems, but just in case, yeah. I mean,
we'll
you're
just
talking,
have to see what's going on.
if something's broken, you're talking less than $200 to get fixed. I'll just take care of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
But I was thinking some of the sprinklers around close to the building have been capped off because of water
Have they?
seepage coming
Okay.
into the building.
Okay. We have
Oh, really?
we have a guy on our crew with irrigation license, so I'll get him to fix everything. And we'll work with the maintenance guys down there to do it.
Have had trouble with water coming in.
Another thing, we are insured, so it's something, I would like to use caution tape around the beds while we're
someone like to make a motion that we accept this donation of this beautiful improvement to our courthouse? Motion from Commissioner Wiley, do we have a second? Second from Commissioner Shook, any discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you so much for your donation.
Thank you, gentlemen.
This is gonna be
I
a
don't mean to
wonderful
be rude,
improvement.
but I'm gonna go out so I can go to work if that's all right.
That would be great, thank
Thank
you.
y'all.
That's an exciting addition. All right, Mr. Cook, our next item is to discuss and consider an interlocal agreement between Young County and the Texas Division of Emergency Management, TDEM, regarding providing office space for our local emergency management liaison, Jared Cook. So, as we've talked about in here before, Jared Cook is the Young County liaison between the TDEM and Young County. He has been officing at the Graham Police Department, but there's an issue with him having 24-hour access to the facility. He's been working very closely with the county as far as our emergency management plans and other issues related to emergencies, and he requested space in the courthouse. Harley was nice enough to share some of her office, and I am submitting to the court for their consideration an interlocal agreement that would allow TDEM to have office space in the courthouse, 24-hour access at no cost to TDEM. I think it's great to have him have that agency close to us, have more access to them, be more communication. I don't see any downside. If there was an emergency, the courthouse would then be the place where we could have our, we call it, your area where we could all gather to plan the headquarters, I don't know what you would call it, but.
Yeah, well, we actually have an EOC that would be at the Sheriff's Department if it's for the county. But already having the emergency management coordinator office here and you and myself, 911 coordinator, all in one spot would be very beneficial to them. To get that initial, just kind of sit rep on what's going on and go from there.
Does anyone have a concern about that? If not, we'll entertain a motion to accept the interlocal agreement.
What about the telephone system? You're making calls out of the courthouse using their system?
No, sir, I shouldn't be. The state provides me a cell phone. I do most of my business on it.
We'll be providing electricity, there's a computer down there that he has quite a training requirement that he could watch his, training courses and have Zoom conferences with people that he needs, but it's really just a place for him to have a place to come, do the work he needs, a place to leave some of his books and equipment and,
I think it'd be a good asset to us.
I think it would be too, and this interlocal agreement allows both parties, if they become dissatisfied with the arrangement, both parties can change, we're not, it's a 10-year agreement, but, I don't think either party is committed for 10 years if they're unhappy with the arrangement.
So moved.
All right, motion from Commissioner Wiley, do we have a second? I'll make the motion, or I'll make the second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Jared. Okay, so item number 15, discuss and consider the Young County Courthouse lighting and electrical upgrades using the ARPA funding.
Let's, put that off to a little bit later.
Okay.
I've got some arrangements being made right now.
Okay, so if it's okay with the court, we'll push that to later in the meeting. Okay, item number 16, discuss and consider a 2-year appointment of Dr. Pat Martin as the Young County Health Authority. His original appointment has expired. I think he did a really good job for the county during COVID. He has said he would be willing to serve another 2-year term if it pleases the court. I'm requesting, the court to approve a 2-year appointment of Dr. Pat Martin, and if the court approves it, I will go administer his oath and get the paperwork filled out. Would someone like to make a motion? Motion from Commissioner Cresswell, do we have a second?
I'll say.
Second from Commissioner Rogers. Is there any discussion on the appointment of Dr. Pat Martin? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion unanimously passes. I'll get that taken care of. Item number 17, this is Commissioner Wiley's item. Discuss and consider applications and permits to cross county road to construct pipeline or utility from Centrio Solutions LLC.
There's one of these roads with it, that's gonna be precinct 3, but basically what they're doing is, there's a telephone company out of Seymour, it's got together with 2 other companies, PCNet, another one, and they're laying a line from Seymour all the way to Jacksboro. Santa Rosa is the main parent company of it, and, they've already started some of the projects, but, I said we need to go ahead and allow them to do that. Another part of that broadband deal that we're trying to get fiber optics to everybody in the country, is what they're planning on doing.
That's not a bad thing. We can get more fiber in the county. I wish it was closer to my house.
There's precinct 4 and precinct 3.
And 3, my apology. So, I'll make a motion that we accept the applications and permits to cross the county roads and construct the pipeline or utility.
I'll second that.
Second from Commissioner Cresswell. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Unanimously passed. Okay, so this one is also a combination precinct 3 and 4. Discuss and consider an application permit to cross county road and construct pipeline utility from Brazos Telephone. Similar deal, are they gonna go in the same right of way? Or are they gonna go into different right of ways? Or these, oh, they're different places, I'm sorry,
Different places.
different places.
Road.
So what type of, what is Brazos Telephone gonna put in?
They're the same thing, fiber optics.
It's gonna be, so it's same project, different spot?
Yes, different company.
Different projects, different spots.
Gotcha. Well, I'll make a motion that we accept the applications and grant the permits to cross the county road as discussed, county road to construct pipeline or utility for Brazos Telephone. Do we have a second?
I'll say.
Second from Commissioner Rogers. Do we have any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion unanimously passes. Item number 19, discuss, consider application permit to install an entry culvert in county road right-of-way ditch line for Stedham Road. Mr. Wiley?
Yeah, we've got another one of these properties that needs divided up out there, this will be the 3rd one. And they have asked if we can put in a culvert for them for an entrance instead of, they've already got the culvert there, we haven't installed it yet because of weather, but, everything's ready to go. I'll make a motion on that.
A motion from Commissioner Wiley. Do we have a second? Second from Commissioner Cresswell. Is there any discussion on this matter? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion unanimously passes. Discuss, item number 20, discuss, consider the division of TxDOT surplus materials. Commissioner Wiley, would you like to lead this one?
We, it's that time of year where we receive 16,000 plus from our TxDOT surplus fund that we get every year. And, it should be a list of things, so if you think of anything else besides culverts and, millings, signage, anything like that. We just need to get a letter with intent signed by the judge so that we can go ahead and process some of that stuff that we need.
Now, this is something that happens every year where they distribute their materials, unused materials to the different counties. And, we're asking the court to grant me permission to sign that request from TxDOT to receive these items that they're gonna distribute among.
So we can all agreement to divide it by each precinct, so, the amount of money.
It's not money, it's just materials.
We don't know, they put a dollar amount on. So we need to divide it by each precinct, so each precinct gets an equal share.
Well, I mean, as far as going and taking the materials?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't have a strong opinion how it gets divided, I just wanna get it, I want it, something coming to the county,
We always have.
There's no problem with doing that, except at the end of the year, we need to see where we're at on it, and make sure we don't leave any on the table, because that's one of the things that they look at. The government looks at, if you don't use what's given you, then they may do less than what they do the next time.
Well, like last year, all I used them for was a bunch of signage for, closing one road to trucks. It saved me money on a bunch of posts and stuff like that. But the culverts I needed at the time, they didn't have, so I never wound up getting those.
Yeah, and so I guess it would be an understanding that all 4 precincts would have equal and equitable share of the material, but if a precinct doesn't want to or need their share, that the other precincts could take it and use it. Would that be acceptable to everyone on the court? Okay. So, would someone make a motion? Motion from Commissioner Cresswell. I think I heard that first.
All right.
And would you like to make a second? Second from Commissioner Wiley. Is there any more discussion on this item? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion unanimously passes. Item number 21, discuss and consider the Young County Arena lease agreement with the City of Graham and a potential award of a concessions contract for the Young County Arena. So, last meeting, we had a workshop with the City of Graham, and we've got several members of the City of Graham here. We worked through some concerns that both parties had over that arena lease. At the table, we came up with solutions that would make both sides happy and moving forward. You were all provided with the revised document, which in my opinion fairly represented what we discussed at this table. I will tell you, the City of Graham has approved the contract as presented. And so that contract from the City of Graham standpoint is ready to be signed. I'm gonna request a motion that we approve the arena lease contract and that you authorize, or give me the authorization to sign that agreement with the City of Graham.
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Wiley, do we have a second? Second from Commissioner Shook. Is there any discussion on the matter? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion unanimously passes. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Looking forward to working with you guys on this.
Yes.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioner.
All right, item number 22, discuss and consider speed limit reduction from 45 miles an hour to 35 miles an hour on Mary Rutherford Road. Commissioner Wiley, Precinct 4, presented this item, and it will require a public hearing to receive comments. We're proposing that it be set for March 27th, 2023 at 9:30 a.m. here in the Young County Courtroom. Mr. Wiley, would you like, anything you'd like to add to this?
Well, we just had a request, that you could slow down a little bit, which I have no problem doing that. The faster they drive down these roads, the faster our fines would get. And, with the amount of traffic we're getting on some of these roads nowadays, we need to cut it back a little bit anyway. But, it's posted at 45 and they won't go down to 35. It's just 10 miles an hour, plus it. I'll make that the formal motion.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Wiley. Do we have a second? Second from Commissioner Cresswell. Is there any discussion on this? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion unanimously passes, so that puts 2 public hearings on March 27th. Let's see if we can get a third. Item number 23, discuss and consider speed limit reduction from 45 miles an hour to 35 miles an hour on the south portion of Bullock Road. Commissioner Shook is presenting this one. He's requesting a public hearing to receive comments set for Monday, March 27th at 9:45 a.m. here in the Young County Courtroom. Mr. Shook, do you have something to add to this?
Same thing, just a request for posted speed limit of 35 on, off of FM 61 on the south end of Bullock Road. Is that acceptable just to do part of the road, or do we do all the way across? The north end is paved,
Yeah, I think you could.
I do the whole thing.
whole thing.
Do it all at once, yeah.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion?
Make a motion.
All right, Mr. Shook made a motion. We have a second from Commissioner Cresswell. Is there any discussion on this item?
Yes. How's this gonna work? We keep lowering these speed limits, but people don't abide by them. You're gonna start writing tickets on them for us.
Violation of law.
All right.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion unanimously passes. Kind of a busy March 27th.
Yeah.
Is someone from Mr. Barron's office here? Item number 24 is discuss and consider a cell phone allowance for the.
Judge, I'm sorry, he's in my office, he's having court down there right now. He's almost through.
Almost through. If it's okay with the court, can I push this item to the back of the agenda? So we'll go to item number 25, discuss and consider part full-time employee status in the Justice and Peace Office, Precinct 1. Judge Hearn?
She's nervous. 2 years ago, we come in and discussed, she was just part-time. We come in and discussed her going full-time. And the way I understood it is that she went, they moved her up from full-time, part-time. Then after, when the fiscal year come around, she was supposed to move full-time. She got a pay increase. We come around this time, we're informed she's part-time and didn't get any kind of pay increase. They say she's already topped out. I don't wanna start losing employees that are very, very valuable to that office down there. We have a great deal of stuff come through that office, and a lot of it pertains to monies. And I wanna have trustworthy people down there handling these monies. We'd like to have her go full-time, where she's eligible for the raises everybody else is. She's working 40 hours a week now and not receiving anything for it, like all other employees are.
Were you originally part-time when you were hired? Or was it a different person in that
It was
position?
her. Originally, she was part-time.
You were part-time.
Then we came to the courts 2 years ago. When they raised our cap on lawsuits, we could hear up to 10,000. They changed it, they jumped us up to 20,000. Our debt claims though, is, I don't know how many come in daily. It's unreal what we have, that's changed, just having that 10,000 added to us.
But you need a full-time employee at this time anyway.
Yes.
And,
this is for a full year, so I haven't figured just for the rest of this
Yeah.
year. Because he has a chief deputy, so she would probably be deputy clerk, which their salary is $38,592. Right now, we had budgeted in there $31,200. So with the difference in salary, retirement, and, on the extra amount is about $8,500 for a full year. So we don't have that much left, so it wouldn't be that much this year.
And is there extra money in his budget for this to come from, or is he pretty tight on the budget?
I doubt it, because it's gonna be, at least,
I don't know what's in my JP fund.
one the other. It'd be better not, we need to do it out of the budget, but I just don't think contingency.
It is designed to supplement a salary,
Yeah,
if need be.
I guess we could write a check and move it. I don't know. Contingency would be the other place that we'd move it. And like I say, it wouldn't be the $8,500 for what's left in this year, because we don't have that many months
And
left.
they just changed it in budget lines next year.
And next year, put in for the deputy clerk, or have it at $38,592, and then if there's a raise, it would go on there.
I'd say we take it out of contingency line.
And
That would make it a little bit clearer. Yeah.
What, a month away from our
Yes.
halfway point in this year, so it would be
38,592.
a little over half of what it'd be 4,250 at the halfway point, that we'd have to move over, so you're looking at probably 5,000.
Yeah, we've got about 7 months left, right, and if we do it now for the next one and put her salary in as $38,592, then I can wait till the very end and see what we need and then move that money out of contingency.
That'd be a better deal, just doing that, just gonna make it. Okay.
Don't ask.
What does all that mean?
I mean, you can come full-time
You get full-time benefits
with the raise.
with a raise.
And the $38,592 is what the deputy clerks in the clerk's office make. The chief deputy makes 42.
That still doesn't help you with the judge you have to work with.
We can't do anything about
It
that.
was elected.
You're stuck with him.
So, would someone like to is there, am I hearing somebody who would like to make a motion on this?
I'll make a motion.
How much do we got left in contingency?
After I move that money out, there's still over 100,000 left in there. I can't remember exactly how much. Now, we had budgeted that money in there for that jail payment,
Total amount.
so,
And we don't need-
well, nearly all of it, so.
Yeah, we did.
So Commissioner Wiley's made a motion that we change the job status from part-time, full-time to full-time and increase the salary and take the money from contingency. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Shook. Is there any discussion on the matter? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion unanimously passes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Barron has arrived. I'd like to go back to item number 24, discuss, consider cell phone allowance for the county attorney clerks. Mr. Barron, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Sorry for my lateness, but I was downstairs prosecuting for the.
No problem.
What I was coming up for is I have two employees, Erica Jimenez and Diana Dollar, who just joined my office, that it came to my attention that we have had a lot of calls to them from the PD, from the sheriff, the jail, et cetera, Olney and Graham, where they will call their private cell phone numbers to try to get information regarding the county when either the office is closed or after hours or whatnot. And I noticed that they have not been receiving the $60 per month cell phone allowance for the use of their private phones for business for the county. And I've come before the Commissioner's Court today to try and rectify that $60 per month for these individuals, so that when they do get called by these agencies, that they're reimbursed just as everybody else from the county is for those expenses. And so what I've come is to ask for those two line items, those two positions, that each of those employees receive the $60 per month for cell phone allowance due to their private cell phones being used for county business. That's what I would ask at this time.
Do they realize that the private cell phone will be used? It could be confiscated if something was to go down.
Yes, we have had that conversation, that is correct. But they're already receiving those telephone calls on those devices anyway, so.
But that's just something they needed to be able to know.
Yes, sir.
Did you get a cell phone allowance?
I do, yes, sir.
I think that should be your responsibility for them to be calling you and not your employees at 5 o'clock.
Indeed, and they do that as well. I receive a lot of phone calls from the county.
And I have it figured from March through September, what it would cost with the 60 each, 120 a month, and the retirement and the FICA on that. And it's $972, and you have it in your budget, don't you, that we can move some money around?
Yes, we do. We have those
So
funds.
you already have those funds in your budget lines that we could use to pay for.
Yes, he does this year, and next year we just have to budget for it.
That's correct.
If we can just move it around, I don't see a problem with it.
Was that made as a motion?
I'll make the
You're
motion.
just snowballing all this, Crystal. My road and bridge employees don't get cell phone allowance for using their phones.
But no, they don't. Don't have to give it a second either.
We have a motion from Commissioner Cresswell. Is there a second? I'll make a second. Any discussion on the item? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries 4-1. Thank you.
Commissioners, I appreciate your time. If you have any other questions for me about anything, please let me know. Thank you.
So that brings us to item number 26, discuss and consider purchasing of a bulldozer for the Young County Emergency and Precinct use. We discussed this last week. One of the questions had to do with insurance. Our auditor made a call to our insurance company, and what did they tell you about our insurance issues on that?
She said as long as whoever operated had the permission of the county to run it, then we were covered.
So our volunteer fire departments, as long as they receive county permission from a commissioner or the judge or our TDM, if Jared was to get on there, I don't know if you're qualified to.
No, I'm not.
If we,
Stay
if we were to get a real TDM liaison who could drive a bulldozer. But basically, it would not create any insurance liability. I would like to consider this might be a good use of ARPA funds to, one house, if we could save one house, we would more than pay for this bulldozer. I do think we also need to consider that if we're buying a bulldozer that would be for county use, and all commissioners would have access to this bulldozer, we probably should have one commissioner that might be responsible for maintaining the bulldozer and keeping up with the maintenance schedule. Stacy, you might be the one.
Yeah, it might be another pain in my yard, but.
Well, you seem to have too easy of a time. I thought maybe this would be nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Scott here said, he already has a use for it that he'd like to use it for if we get one. I'm sure Jimmy has some uses for it. I know I do. I don't know that if, you know, there's things that it would make our job easier in the county to correct things on the roads. But another thing is, like you said, if we can save one home, one family from going through what I went through in 2011, it's well worth it. I mean, you go losing a home, it's a whole different ballgame for the person that loses it.
Hey Jared, could you give us the TDM perspective on how if we had a county bulldozer, how that might help when we get into wildfire season?
That's more the Forest Service side of things than it is TDM, but.
Okay.
The Boontown Task Force out of Burnet's an hour away when they're set and they're ready. They do cover 11 counties, so there's a possibility during wildfire season that they will not be available. So having a dozer here wouldn't be bad, I guess, for the county. The one that was initially proposed also has a GPS system in it, and once you make that lap around that fire, you have it contained, we can also get the acreage, and that will be able to report up to Forest Service as well, so if they do respond to help us out.
Do we have any idea last year when we were in wildfire season, how long we were having to wait to get some dozer help?
I've seen them show up within an hour last year, and I've seen it be 4 or 5 hours and think we had one on the way and they not show up.
Yeah, and the ones that were there in an hour were local, that were
Yeah.
Forest Service.
They wouldn't force her.
And, when you just have a no-show, that's even worse, cause you're actually expecting one to show up. And then last year, at some point, it got to where some of them were getting confused without how to get paid for what they'd done, and then they were refusing to show up, and that's our local ones. And, that's not a good thing either.
Sheriff, what do you think about this?
Oh, I think it's great. I mean, we've been entertaining this for a few months now, and I think it, would come in great. Even back whenever we had the fires on Judges Road, we could have had it, we wouldn't have lost anything, possibly.
Is that where your daughter's house was?
I'd point out as well, just last month, the Montague fire, there was no air resources in the state of Texas. They couldn't come in and dump water either. So there's gonna be times where we don't even have air assets, so to have that dozer, I say we, the county.
It can't do nothing but be
Yeah.
a plus for it, in my opinion.
Thing of it is, it needs to stay in Young County as a county asset. It doesn't need to go outside the county chasing fires with our employees in it. It needs to be used strictly in Young County,
I would agree with that.
countywide. We need to sit down and figure out a list of people qualified or eligible to run it. We don't want just your standard, average volunteer firefighter, being access to it. We want somebody that has experience with dozers, equipment. We need to make a list that if, say, our hands ain't available to run it, they can send one of their guys to get it, but it's gonna have to be specific people.
Yeah. Well, that would be a good thing if,
And if we can get maybe some fire training for the guys that'll be running it through you.
So Texas Forest Service does have a dozer operator course that you can take.
And if we could get some of the firefighters even to go take that with our volunteer fire departments, that would be a plus.
That's through Teams, isn't it?
I believe so, yes.
We'll be seeing them, this next month, next week, at A&M. They're gonna do some stuff down there for us, and that'd be a good time and opportunity to be able to sit there and talk to them, see if they'll come to Young County and put that on, and give us some stuff. I think we do that also, on our insurance side. I think that'll help us on our insurance also.
So what are we looking at on cost? Is this something we can get through Buy Board or one of our
It's-
other procurements?
It is.
It is through Buy Board.
I'm sorry, that almost went out.
$217,220. It's a 2020 model, 168 horsepower. And, some of the requirements we looked at on the deal is you need the rocks, what I call the rocks canopy, the sweeps on it, so that when you're in there working with trees, the trees go up and over the dozer. It also has screens on both sides and the back to protect the windows of the dozer. The pictures that you see, it's gonna need a new undercarriage. That price that he give us is exact as the price with the new undercarriage under it. That's probably about, $20,000 worth of undercarriage or more. Plus, they're gonna go from one end of it to the other end, changing all the fluids and filters and everything. And when I talked to the, salesman, I said, if we do this, I request we have at least 3 inner and outer filters on hand at all times. Because when you're out there in that fire with the soot and everything, you gotta keep that air cleaner changed. That's one of the most important things on any piece of equipment out there. I don't care if it's a fire truck, or a dozer, or maintainer, or what. That's one of the most important things to do, is let it breathe. So, and it's a 6-way blade, which means you can angle it one way or the other. And that's what you do out there, is you kick your roll off to one side when you're fighting fire.
Would someone like to make a motion that we consider purchasing a bulldozer for Young County's emergency and precinct use?
Make that motion.
Motion from Commissioner Wiley, do we have a second? I'll make a second. Was there any discussion on the item, any further discussion?
This will be taken to Martin, yes.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion unanimously carries. Item number 27, discuss and consider burn restrictions. We are currently in a burn ban. This morning I sent a text out to our volunteer fire department chiefs, our emergency management coordinator, and our TDM county liaison. Before we started this meeting, over half had responded. They were okay lifting it. One recommended waiting a day for the high winds. But the rest were okay to lifting it. Seems to me like we've got standing water and
I'll make the motion that we lift it.
we have a motion to lift it. Do we have a second to lift it?
But I'm gonna agree with that one about waiting till that, at least Tuesday or Wednesday.
I think it's gonna be windy all week.
Because
Moderate rain tomorrow.
I have additional information from the Texas Forest Service forecast this morning.
Yeah.
If you wanna hear that. So in the last 7 days, there's been 13 reported fires in our disaster district with only 30 acres burned total. The fuel moisture index is high, and we do have rain in the forecast for the next 7 days. Drought index is low, the fire danger forecast is low, and we do have 15 to 25 mile-an-hour winds tomorrow with gusts up to 40. But then it tapers off on Wednesday on.
Yeah.
So would you like to modify the motion that we lift the burn ban on a certain day?
I would think we need to wait till after they do it Tuesday, Wednesday.
But it was windy all week.
No, it backs off on Wednesday.
So
The latest forecast shows it to essentially back off on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
do you make a motion that we lift the burn ban on Wednesday?
Yes.
Do we have a second that we lift the burn ban on Wednesday? I'll make that motion, or make that second. Any more discussion on lifting the burn ban on Wednesday?
Y'all all right with that? Wait till after the wind passes or?
It needs to be lifted at this point.
Okay.
All in favor for lifting the burn ban on Wednesday? Anyone opposed? Motion unanimously passes.
On the burn ban situation, we should have, when we got this wet, it comes back to you that you can lift it without the cord. Problem of it is to discuss that with us makes a quorum if you call more than 2 of us, or more than 1 of us. And it makes it kind of where you're getting the blame for not getting lifted or whatever, whenever we do have ideal burn conditions. We need to come up with something that you decide, well, yeah, I should lift it or not without causing a quorum.
So the way I read the policy is if Commissioners Court expressly gives the county judge the authority to lift a burn ban, he has the authority to lift a burn ban, but the way I read it is that authority has to be expressly given by Commissioners Court. So I don't care which way we go, but I'm asking the court if, as our court's policy, are y'all granting me the authority to lift a burn ban between Commissioners Court's meetings? Or would you like to keep it to where the court can lift the burn ban only, not the county judge individually? And I'm good either way. I would like to know how the court would like that handled going forward, because I had several people asking me if I could lift the burn ban. I did not believe that I had the authority of this court to do that.
I'll make the motion to give you that authority.
Okay.
In the times that, like we had the other day.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion? Is there any discussion on that? And that's gonna be until, now, obviously, the court can change this, but y'all are giving me the authority going forward. Anytime we issue a burn ban, that I would have the authority to relinquish the burn ban.
That's conjectural authority at any time.
Okay. Motion from Commissioner Cresswell, a second from Commissioner Rogers. Is there any more discussion on that? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion unanimously passes. Commissioner Wiley, do we want to revisit item 15, or would we like to do our closed session as?
Do we want to take a little break right now, and then we'll come back to it?
Sure, sure. We'll take it is, what is it, 10:40, we'll take a 15-minute recess. Okay. Thanks for working on that.
Yeah, thank you.
I was hoping no.
Sorry.
We did.
Absolutely. Oh, I know.
How are you?
How are you? Good to see you.
Hey, Kathy, sign this thing.
Thank you. The one that I was saying.
If I need to